The pain started once I joined the military. I hyperextended my knee so it bent back. And so for most people, if that happened, you might say, it might hurt for a few minutes and that was it. Well, I've had pain in that knee ever since. Other times it would just be random. You know, all of a sudden I started having this really bad elbow pain. I started to wonder if maybe I was just overly sensitive to pain, that, you know, maybe the problem was with me. Because I would tell people, even people who knew me, and they'd say, oh, you know, last week it was your elbow and this week it's the so-and-so. I've had members of my family who just, you know, oh, she's a hypochondriac, you know, it's always something with her and that kind of thing. So I ended up shutting down to the point that I just stopped talking about it. Because of those issues, I became depressed. And so a lot of doctors, if they see depression on your list, well, that's the reason. You're in pain because you're depressed, not the other way around. I was misdiagnosed with various things for almost 30 years. Spinal stenosis, osteoarthritis, facet joint disease. Later on, I got a diagnosis of fibromyalgia. At first, I thought, oh, okay, well, that's it. Even though I felt like some of the symptoms may not necessarily have fit. I knew from an early age that my father had ankylosing spondylitis. I remember I was just fascinated by the word itself. My youngest brother had it as well. My father's primary symptom was uveitis. His eyes were always really, really red. Several months before he died, he had a stroke, and he ended up passing away from a subdural hematoma. And 6 months after my father passed away, so did my brother. Just one second.
No, please.
When my brother died, it scared me to death. I told my doctors that my father had this disease, so they tested me for the gene that's strongly associated with AS, which is HLA-B27, and I was negative. Because the genetic marker HLA-B27 is not commonly found in African Americans, it's only maybe 50% of the time, I believe that there are many African Americans who are undiagnosed. AS is thought of as a man's disease. I had the double whammy of, you know, not just being a woman, but being a black woman, so definitely, you know, they were not looking at me having AS. One of my biggest regrets is not getting diagnosed sooner, but I'm grateful that, you know, even at my age now, that I'm being treated. The more I learn about it, the more I want to help others to get that diagnosis, because I know how wonderful that is. I know what it's like to kind of suffer in silence for years. Once you get the diagnosis, it's like you can find a home for yourself.